So most of the people in our country are poor. If we knew about the economics of being poor, we would know much of the economics that really matters. And most of the world's poor people earn their living from agriculture. So if we knew the economics of agriculture, we would know much of the economics of being poor. Welcome to our another career talk session where we provide career guidance relating to different career options. And today we would like to welcome our guest lecturer, Mr. Subhash Sir. And the topic of today's lecture is career as an agriculture economist. So, sir, welcome to our session. And
Thank you, Swati.
yes, sir. So, first of all, I would like you to introduce us to yourself to us.
Okay. There was a question. Should I introduce myself?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay.
Introduce yourself.
I'm Subhash, working as a scientist with Indian Council of Agriculture Research in an institute called National Institute of Agricultural Economics and Policy Research, which mainly deal with agriculture policy research, training. Those are the key mandates of the institute. That's briefly about me. If I need to give a brief account of my background, I have an undergraduate degree in agriculture. That's a 4-year course called BS Agriculture, like other professional courses like engineering or medicine. I did my undergraduation from Tamil Nadu Agriculture University, Coimbatore, and I did my post-graduation from Punjab Agriculture University. Post-graduation is a 2-year degree program titled MSc Agricultural Economics. That's a brief bio about it.
Okay, sir. So moving towards our first question. So throw some light on this field, like who is actually an agricultural economist?
That's an interesting question because till now I was not able to convince my parents. Still, my parents have no clue what an agriculture economist is, because we often know about agriculture. We read about economics of agriculture in newspapers, but there are a bunch of people who work on it, especially in agriculture sector, looking into economics. Those are called as agriculture economists. So if I want to put it out, agriculture economist is somebody who works using principles of economics in the field of agriculture. So if I broadly say, they are basically applied economists with a background in agriculture or agriculture economics. So let me put it out, agriculture economics is a specialization, like pediatrician. So I am basically a scientist with a specialization in agriculture economics. So they are professors with a specialization in agriculture economics. They are policy makers with a specialization in agriculture economics. So these positions differ based on their roles and responsibilities they undertake. That's briefly what an agriculture economist is.
Okay, quite interesting. So my second question is like, share some of your experiences while you were pursuing this field. What were your experiences?
Okay, so to put it out honestly, during my education, like my schooling time, I have no clue such a field exists. So I ended up doing agriculture, bachelor's in agriculture, because I came across this course, which was interesting because I'm from a rural background and I'd seen agriculture around me. So when I came across this course, I joined that course. Agriculture, bachelor's in agriculture, which is a 4-year course. This is kind of a mix of multiple courses. Like you get specialized in everything. So we usually make a joke that we are jack of all trades. So what it gives you is that it gives you a platform later to specialize. Among the courses which is taught as part of my undergraduate curriculum, economics was interesting for me, especially as you said in the introduction. It's about the poor people or the farmers who actually matters for a country like us, which is completely run on agrarian sector. So that interested me to get my specialization in master's as in the field of agricultural economics. After that, the whole lot of venue opens up as an employment opportunity. I initially started my career with International Maize and Wheat Improvement Center. It is one among those 15 international institutes which does research in different crops. So the institute which I worked work on wheat and maize. This 15 institutes are called a CGR Institute, or Consortium of International Agriculture Research. These are the institutes which played a key role in bringing green revolution to India. If I could add a general knowledge, Dr. Norman Borlaug, who's called as father of green revolution, is from this institute. He was the person who pioneered in development of high-yielding wheat varieties, which India later adopted, and we become successful in our green revolution. So in this institute, I worked based in Delhi for South Asia and Southeast Asia. I directly worked in Nepal. I worked in Bangladesh. Also, I indirectly worked with colleagues in Pakistan, Indonesia, China, Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia. This was my earlier profile. After that, I joined as a scientist with Indian Council of Agriculture Research. Indian Council of Agriculture Research is an autonomous body under Ministry of Agriculture. It's similar to, about ICMR. So we have research organizations similar to CSIR. We have 100 plus institutes throughout India working on special commodities and crops. In my current profile, I have 3 verticals basically. I undertake research. I'm also involved in policy making. So we help ministries with different policies. Also, I undertake training for other academicians and students to undertake research. That's briefly about my journey so far.
Quite interesting, sir. Can you tell me, like, I have a very out of the syllabus question. As you said that you belong to a rural area. So can you see that, like, in past years, agriculture was termed as the most prestigious sector. And nowadays, like, it feels like it has lost its gen. And don't you think that agriculture has lost its importance as it did in the past?
Of course not. So like when the perception is that agriculture is narrowed just upon farmers. So agriculture is a broader thing which includes the food. We cannot survive without food, right? So as long as scientists find some other way of surviving without food, this sector has its relevance. So that's what I said. Agriculture doesn't mean just farmers. It involves different stakeholders. If we are not producing, we are going to import that commodities from some other place. So as a sector, it stands, right? So the thing is that as long as humans need food for consumption, the sector has its own value.
So how come the student who is pursuing this field can actually help the agricultural sector?
Okay, so like for a student, let me first talk about how a student could enroll into this course. Like when I say agricultural economics, right? Let me put it this way. If somebody says I am interested in this course, like why they should be interested in this course? Career aspirations are very individual choices. It depends upon his or own passion, right? But if somebody is interested in working in this area, especially for welfare of farmers, or somebody who is interested genuinely in making food accessible to people, that's the point which was pointed out before. One could opt this as a career choice. So this is a very altruistic motive, right? Like you're talking about welfare of the people. But from a job perspective, as I said, it's a specialization. Once you join, you have multiple opportunities opening up. You could work as a scientist, you could be an academician, you could work in companies. You have central government jobs, which has this specializations. How a student can contribute to this field, like anybody. So it's like no field is better than the other field, right? Each field has its own contribution. So if somebody joins this course, has this technical know-how in this field, he could help out farmers, he could help out consumers to get good quality food. at a reasonable price. Those are what you call how somebody pursuing this course could contribute to the larger community as such. Hope I am clear. If you have any doubt, please clarify it.
No, sir. Clear. So finally, what are the courses that has been offered to you while you were pursuing this field, and how long is the process actually?
Okay. So as I said, like agricultural economist is a specialization, like what we have pediatricians in doctor, right? So you should have a basic degree before jumping into a specialization. You could have agriculture as a basic degree. That's my basic degree. I have 4 years in agriculture, or it could be agriculture marketing, or there are courses called horticulture, which deals with fruits and vegetables. Or you can come from economics background. So the courses which I'm referring as agriculture, those are professional courses which has duration of 4 years. Economics, you might know, mostly 3-year degree. So you can have those degree and then get specialized in agriculture economics at your master's level. I'm not aware of any course at undergrad level which gives you a degree called agriculture economics. Again, it's in India. If I say from where you could get agriculture economics master's degree, states have the state agriculture universities. Most of the state has at least 1 or 2 or 3 state agriculture universities. You can directly enroll into them. Also, there are deemed universities like Indian Agriculture Research Institute, which is based in Delhi. You have National Dairy Research Institute based in Karnal. So there are a couple of deemed universities. Also, you have central universities like Banaras Hindu University. So they also offer you Masters in Agricultural Economics. Masters in Agricultural Economics is a 2-year program, but those who are coming up with a basic degree in economics, which is a 3-year degree, a few universities would ask you to do an additional coursework within agriculture. So it might take 2.5 years to 3 years, like GB Pantnagar University or Punjab Agriculture University. They allow economics graduate to get masters, get a specialization in agriculture economics in the master's level, but you need to do an additional coursework. That's the basic coursework, basic degree of an agriculture economist. But you could pursue further, you could pursue PhD in India, in all the institutes which I'm referring to you before. You could go abroad, US, Europe, Australia. They have universities offering masters and PhD in agriculture economics. For example, for US, you don't even need, even an engineer can join PhD graduate program in agriculture economics. That scope exists. In India, I'm not aware of that. So to also put it out, there are good fellowships to undertake such. So for masters in state agriculture universities or in deemed universities or central universities, you have junior research fellowships, even at master's level. For PhD level, you also have senior research fellowships. Even if you're going abroad, you could get good funding to pursue this course, which is much easier than most of the other degree, which I'm aware of.
Okay, sir, great. So, why do you think that a student should pursue this field or go for this field?
Okay, and that's what I said. Career aspiration is very individualistic. If somebody is interested in working, again, as you started, if somebody is interested in the larger welfare of the community, or somebody is like really interested in working with farmers, somebody is really interested in helping the policymakers. As I said, a large chunk of our population is still dependent on agriculture. So it makes sense. We need a lot of people in the sector, a lot of good people in the sector. If a lot of good, smart people get into the sector, it could help the sector in a better way, right? That's so you always have the best or the cream going in becoming a doctor or an engineer. But if you have those cream in agriculture sector, that could help the sector a lot.
So, sir, as we know that a coin has 2 sides. So, are there any drawbacks of this field?
So from a job or career perspective, let me put it out in that way. It's not a drawback, but it becomes really competitive because, as I said, people from different backgrounds can aspire a career being an agriculture economist, right? So that's a big challenge. So you have people, people from DU, JNU could come and compete with with the same degree, right? Like they could compete with you. There are people in those good institute working in the field of agriculture economics. So if you're from a state agriculture universities or from a deemed university, you have to compete with them for all the career aspects. So that's a challenge because anybody can finally end up doing a master's in agriculture economics, right? And the background is bit diverse and the competition such becomes pretty tough in that way. But doesn't mean that you can still carve out your own space. Everybody have their own skill sets. Those specialization matters. For example, like I'm an agriculture economist with a core specialization in agriculture. That's my background. So if I'm competing with somebody from Delhi University or JNU who has masters in economics working in agriculture, but I have still the context knowledge which I've gained through my undergraduate degree, right? So it helps. So you have to actually carve out your own space, which is one of the challenge of being in the street.
Yes. So we live in that kind of a economy which is very much dynamic. So there are like trends and things going on which is very much dynamic changes like with the time. So what are all the challenges that one might face in getting into the trends and things in the economic activity?
That's a very generic question, right? Let me put it out this way. One of the challenges that everybody thinks they are an economist or an agriculture economist, right? Everybody has their opinion what's going around in the world. They might be right or they might be wrong. Why we have some specialists is that they found out the way in which you could do it. For example, if you have a degree, if I have a master's or PhD in agricultural economics, I know how scientifically, how to get rid of those biases, how scientifically to come up with, or coming up with answers, getting rid of my own biases. That's what we are taught in this course. Because everybody has their own opinion and everybody would come up with their idea of how the economy is going, how economy is not going. That is one kind of challenge we face. Second is that even the researchers, they have their own biases. Often what people do, this is with the basic human bias, what we're talking about. We often pick our own side, like we believe in something, and then what we do is cherry picking, right? We find some data to support what we already believe in. So even faced with some alternative fact, we don't believe it, right? We live in a post-truth era where we try to reinforce our beliefs rather than understanding what's actually happening in reality, which is one of the biggest challenge with understanding the pattern in the economy. There are other technical challenges with, especially in this time, like lack of access, lack of good data, which is a big challenge for a country like us to come up with what's really happening. Even if you have good data, you will come up with something. In general, the thing is that when we criticize what's going around, you're often tagged as anti-national, right? So that's like there is no scope for a positive criticism. Nobody likes criticism, right? That's one of the challenge to understand. So many times the facts are tweaked, the facts are hidden. That's also the biggest challenge when we try to understand the pattern of the economy, how it's heading. That's the challenge we face in the professional space, as well as the challenge we face as in country.
Okay, sir. So anything or any tip you want to give to other students who are planning to offer this field, or anything you want to add on?
Okay. Yeah, that was something like, see, when students think that how, this is a very generic stuff, right? Like when somebody thinks about how, where I'm going to be in future. Uh, During my school, I had no idea what I'm going to be, right? We all generally follow the herd, what everybody is choosing. So among the 30 odd students in my school, uh, 20 chose, 20 opted engineering, because that's a trend. So often student has the capacity of following the trend or following the herd like sheep. It's good to avoid that trend, because when I was doing my schooling, the trend was in engineering and other professional degree. But over period, if we know that if a lot of people are opting that as a career choice, after, when by the time we are out of that graduation, the job market is completely flooded with graduates, right? So that's a strategic decision. So should be careful when we choose which is the course which I'm going to opt. I always say that follow your passion, and it's always good to take this risk of the road not taken, uh, not follow the herd, opt something which is completely off the wild. People usually try to play safe, which is not a good idea. So always risks are avoided. That's a tip. Again, I would say just follow your passion. Uh, Many times, and like for in the course itself, even if you join any course nowadays, we have a scope of changing our career path. That scope exists. So just follow your passion, and I wish good luck to the students.
Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. It was
Thank you.
indeed an enlightening session with you. Uh, Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Swati, and thank Akash Foundation for the invitation. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Have a good day, sir.
Same to you. Bye.